Hello students, I am Dr. Saleha Jamal, Faculty Department of Geography from Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh. So, today's topic of discussion is National Action Plan on Climate Change, as we are discussing the role of India in mitigation with the climate change, and we have discussed few of them. So, today's we are going to discuss in detail the NAPCC, that is National Action Plan on Climate Change. So, let us start today's class, student. Welcome to the class. As we know that for our era in which we are living, climate change is one of the most important global issue. The various recent events we have seen that have been increased in its severity, frequency, thus increasing the vulnerability of human beings towards the climate change. Among these consequences, what I am talking about, that the frequency and severity of the events are increasing. Few of them is just here you can see species extinction. Climate change is affecting agriculture. It is intensifying the natural disaster like floods, droughts, hurricanes, storm surges, etc. Sea level rise, which is accelerating the coastal erosion and coastal flooding. The spread of vector-borne diseases, mainly due to the expansion of the warm and humid habitat, and overall threatening food security because it is affecting the climate sensitive sector, that is agriculture. So, these all consequences makes climate change one of the most important global issue of our date. So, as we are discussing the role of India, how India is mitigating with the climate change, what are its initiatives and strategies for the climate change. So, in the same series, even we have discussed various strategies and initiatives that has been taken by the India. This is very much specific, that NAPCC we are talking about. This is one of the initiative which was launched on June 30, 2008 by the Prime Minister Manmohan Singh in order to mitigate with the climate change. Actually, NAPCC not only talks about the mitigation but is also talk about the adaptation. The National Action Plan on Climate Change, it establishes one of the national policy in order to enhance, in order to grow India's ecological sustainability, to aid climate change adaptation. NAPCC is a program which overall talks about in inclusion the adaptation and mitigation effect of the climate change. Let us examine some of the principles of the NAPCC. NAPCC talks about sustainable development, adaptation and mitigation. It promotes ecological sustainability and economic progress mainly by highlighting the sustainable development as its priority objective. Here you can find that it highlights ecological sustainability and economic progress. One thing I want to point out here, why ecological sustainability? Actually, when the concept of development started, the concept started only with the economic progress, and when each nation of the world are in the race of economic progress, that is economic development, they have all exploited the resources, particularly the natural resources, recklessly to develop themselves economically without thinking their repercussions. And when we started to feel its repercussions in the term of global warming, climate change, then we started to think about maintaining the economic development with respect to the maintaining the ecological balance also. Then later on, while balancing again the exploitation of resources was not slowed down. Then the concept of sustainability came, where we started to think about the economic development with parallelly having the ecological development and sustainable development. That's why NAPCC here promotes ecological sustainability and economic progress, which highlights overall the sustainable development as its priority objective. As I have said, it has an inclusive goal of adaptation and mitigation. Adaptation, that is what we can say, adapting ourselves towards the effects of the climate change, means towards extreme heat, how we can get adapted, towards the drought condition, how we can get adapted. That is, we can say, increasing the resistance towards the climate effects. That is what it is, adaptation. And if we talk about mitigation, this is lowering the greenhouse gas emission, because mitigation deals with the reduction of causes of the climate change, and major cause is greenhouse gases. That's why in mitigation we talk about lowering of greenhouse gas emissions. So NAPCC principle that has a main principle of adaptation and mitigation, that is very much inclusive in nature. It also has a principle of inclusive growth, talking about adaptation and mitigation, and not only of developed society but deprived society also. It talks about the vulnerable society who do not have much access to the resource for adaptation and mitigation. That can be done through the technology, innovation and financial assistance to these vulnerable and deprived communities and regions. So it talks about the inclusive growth, technology and innovation, and it also talks about the international cooperation, because through these steps like NAPCC, India comes forward to ratify with the UNFCCC Conference of Parties and their agreements like Kyoto Protocol, Paris Agreement, Montreal Protocol, etc. So these are the major principles of NAPCC. There are 8 important national missions which are included in NAPCC. Just have a look here. That is National Solar Mission, National Mission for Enhanced Energy Efficiency, National Mission on Sustainable Habitat, National Water Mission, National Mission for Sustaining the Himalayan Ecosystem because it is very much vulnerable to the climate change, National Mission for Green India, National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture, National Mission on Strategic Knowledge for Climate Change. So these are the 8 important national missions of NAPCC, which represent a long-term, inclusive and integrated strategies and initiatives to achieve the various goals of the climate change. So let us start discussing each mission in detail one by one. The first mission, that is JNSM, which is also known as Jawaharlal Nehru National Solar Mission. When the term solar mission comes, automatically you can think that is transitioning or shifting from non-renewable sources of energy to more cleaner, green, renewable sources of energy, among which solar energy is very important. Mainly, this mission was governed by Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. It was launched in 2021 with the goal of establishing 20,000 megawatt of grid solar power based on solar thermal power generating systems and even SPV, that is solar voltaic technologies. So this was the main goal. Even 2000 megawatt of grid capacity was thought to be built by 2022. Actually, this solar mission aims to reduce the absolute cost of solar energy Why to reduce the cost of solar energy? So it may become affordable even to general public also. Why affordability matters here? When it will be affordable, then only the everyone, even several industrial sectors or even the general public can access to this solar energy. And when the access to solar energy, affordability to solar energy increase, it will automatically lessen the detrimental effect of non-renewable energies like coal, petroleum. We can say the detrimental effect of the environment will automatically be reduced. This mission actually fosters the use of cleaner fuel, both on-grid and off-grid power system. So this is a little bit mission overview. Just see, it has this mission is mainly having 3 phases: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Each has its own capacity of establishment. In phase 1, 1000 megawatt, we can say on-grid capacity of establishment, while phase 2 we can say 4000 to 10,000 megawatt of grid connected solar power, and phase 3 having the target of 100,000 megawatt of grid connected solar power. So this is we can say overview of the solar mission. The second important mission of NAPCC is NME, means National Mission on Enhanced Energy Efficiency. Enhanced energy efficiency means enhancing the efficiency of the, we can say, renewable and non-renewable resources. When we will enhance the efficiency of the non-renewable resources, its use will automatically be reduced. When its use will be reduced, it will cut down the greenhouse emission also, means there will be the reduction in the greenhouse emission also. So this national mission for enhanced energy efficiency, it is mainly governed by the Ministry of Power, the Bureau of Energy Efficiency, and mainly it was approved in 2009, and the investment was around 74,000 crore, a huge investment. And the key areas on which this mission was working was on energy efficiency, equity and environment. When we talk about the equity, means which region, which sector needs what, how much. That is what we can say basic principle of equity. National Mission of Enhanced Energy Efficiency, it includes some of the specific energy efficiency initiatives like PAT. PAT, that is perform, achieve and trade, means improving the efficiency mainly in the energy intensive sectors, the sectors which are exploiting the energy in large amount, first to improve their energy efficiency. So this is what we can say, one of the initiative we know, which is known as PAT. Another initiative is MTEE, means market transformation for energy efficiency, which means accelerating shifts towards the energy efficient appliances. If energy efficient appliances are more mobilized, more used, then automatically we can save the resources. For example, using LED. This is just one example. There are several other, we can say, shift towards the energy efficient appliances. Third initiative is EFP, meaning Energy Efficiency Financing Platform. EFP means providing platform mainly for enhancement of the capacity, particularly for the various sectors, stakeholders related to the energy efficient financing. So if there will be the financing for increasing the capacity of energy efficiency, then certainly it will help a lot in increasing and enhancing the energy efficiency. And the fourth initiative is FEEED, means Framework for Energy Efficient Economic Development, mainly development of fiscal instruments in order to promote energy efficiency. So these are the major initiatives mainly under this National Mission for Enhanced Energy Efficiency. Third mission of NAPCC is the National Mission on Sustainable Habitat. It mainly talks about the urban development, sustainable urban development. That's why it is governed by the Ministry of Urban Development, mainly approved in 2011, and it aims to make cities more resilient and sustainable towards the climate change. The main goal of National Mission on Sustainable Habitat is particularly to promote low carbon urban growth, to reduce greenhouse emission intensity and meet India's NDC. India's NDC means we can say nationally determined contributions that came under the Paris Agreement. Means there was not set binding targets to the nations for the greenhouse gas emissions, but each and every nation, they have to voluntarily, they have to contribute towards the climate change with their own set of goals and objectives. So which came to be known as nationally determined contribution. It also holds the aim, this mission also holds the aim of building cities more resilient to climate change impact and even increasing their capacities to bounce back to the better form of climate change. It also has the mission to create and adopt more holistic approach towards the solid and liquid waste management, ensuring full potential of energy generation, mainly conversion of solid waste into energy by 3 R's also, recycling, reusing and composting. Through these phenomena, then city can be made more resilient and sustainable. What this mission talks about. So this mission is being implemented through the various program from the Ministry of Urban Development. The major ones you must have heard like Atal Mission on Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation, popularly known as Amrut Mission, Swachh Bharat Mission, very much popular Smart Cities Mission, Urban Transport Program. So overall, these are the different missions we can say how the Ministry of Urban Development have implemented in order to fulfill the goals and objectives of this National Mission of Sustainable Habitat. The fourth mission, that is National Water Mission, very important mission because we know climate change has the impact on the water availability. Various regions have been suffering from the water crisis. So in India, it is governed by the Ministry of Water Resources, River Development, Ganga Rejuvenation. Mainly it was approved in 2011. The National Water Missions have several goals like formulating certain basic water data for the public domain, so they can analyze, like for example the consumption pattern data, the supply pattern data, the pollution pattern data, etc. Means comprehensive water database for the public domain. It also has a goal of assessing the impact of climate change on water resources. So it will create awareness among the public, and if this assessment is made, this will help a lot to the policy makers, decision makers to frame certain strategies and initiatives for water management. Even it promotes water conservation, augmentation and preservation. It focuses mainly on the vulnerable areas such as the areas which is facing more threat of the water resources due to the climate change or due to the over exploitation of the water resources. It has the goal to increase the water use efficiency up to 20%. Means these all goals will ensure better integrated and holistic water resource management, leading to water conservation, less wastage, equitable distribution, forming better policies for water management. The fifth mission, that is the National Mission for Sustaining the Himalayan Ecosystem. Why particularly we are talking about the Himalayan ecosystem? Because this ecosystem is regarded as very much vulnerable and prone to the climate change. We know that the glaciers are melting, the habitat is losing, there are various other effects. Particularly, this National Mission for Sustaining the Himalayan Ecosystem is mainly governed by the Department of Science and Technology and approved in 2014. Its main aim to protect the overall Himalayan ecosystem, to safeguard the Himalayas, glacier, mountain ecosystem, the biodiversity of the Himalayas, the wildlife conservation, overall we can say flora and faunal conservation and protection. It also lists out the institutions, the societies and the organizations that particularly work on the Himalayan ecology in order to facilitate collaboration between the governmental and non-governmental organization, which is very much important because many times some duplication of the same works are being done by the different organization. So, listing out the institution which is working on the Himalayan ecology will help a lot to collaborate the governmental and non-governmental organization to work together. So, this is all we can say different aims of this this particular mission. It has a goal, specific goals like continuous self-learning is required. Why? For balancing the forces of nature action of and the actions of the mankind by creating such type of relationship with certain community based organization, means man-nature relationship, that will be possible only through the self-learning, continuous self-learning. Even by establishing the modern center of glaciology, standardization of data collection will ensure the interoperability and mapping of the natural resources in this particular area. Even the identification and training of experts, means capacity building, training of the experts, training of the specialists in this particular area, which is very much relevant to sustaining the Himalayan ecosystem. So, through these goals, the National Mission for Sustaining the Himalayan Ecosystem is functioning. The sixth mission is National Mission for a Green India, mainly governed by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, approved in 2014, and it has a mandate, different mandate. First, to revive the degraded forest land, mainly focusing on increasing the forest cover, not only increasing the forest cover, its density and conserving the biodiversity. So, main mandate is to increase the forest cover, to revive the degraded forest cover, increasing the density and even conserving the biodiversity. So, enhancing private and public partnership, particularly for plantation improvement schemes based on joint forestry management, can help a lot. Increase in the income from the forest, it has several goals. The goals are mainly that points out towards helping the environment in its maintaining its sustainability, in helping the community by enhancing their livelihoods through this particular sector, etc. For example, I would like to point here improving the overall ecosystem like carbon sequestration, hydrological services and biodiversity. We know the green cover plays a very important role in carbon sequestration. It sequesters carbon from the atmosphere. It acts as a carbon sink. Even it manages the hydrological cycle and it provides the habitat for the biodiversity. Thus, it can help for the sustainability of the environment. Not only this, even it can increase the income from the forest based livelihoods for approximately 3 million households surrounding the forest. So, this mission particularly includes several sub-missions, particularly the 5 sub-missions which aims at enhancing quality of forest cover and improving ecosystem services, ecosystem restoration increased in the forest cover, enhancing tree cover in urban and peri-urban areas, agroforestry and social forestry in order to increase biomass and in order to increase the area of the carbon sink, and overall restoration of the wetlands, means protecting overall the natural barriers. So, these are few of the submissions. The 7th mission of NAPCC is a national mission for sustainable agriculture, very much important because we know the agriculture sector is a directly climate sensitive sector, and this mission is particularly governed by the Ministry of Agriculture and approved in 2010. It aims to make agriculture more productive by increasing the production, by increasing the field yield, making the crops more climate resilient and sustainable. This mission works towards devising various strategies to make Indian agriculture less susceptible to the climate change. It has a certain strategy like adopting sustainable development pathways, maybe we can say through the certain practices like saving water in irrigation, or we can say by increasing the drought resistant crops in the drought prone areas, adopting conservation of natural resources, for example through the drip irrigation, or we can say through the sprinkler irrigation, the water resource can be saved by practicing integrated farming, crop rotation, crop diversification. These are the few strategies of National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture. Mainly it focuses on, these are the few of the components which focuses on soil health management, farm water management and soil health card scheme. So, it has already, I have said, it has a particular aim, just review it, making agriculture more productive and sustainable, remunerative and climate resilient by promoting location specific integrated and composite farming system, soil and moisture conservation measures, comprehensive soil health management, efficient water management practices. These are, we can say, a few of the aims of NMSA. The last mission of 8th mission of NAPCC, that is very important one, National Mission on Strategic Knowledge for Climate Change. Mainly it is governed by the Department of Science and Technology, approved in 2014. This mission on strategic knowledge for the climate change, it works on creating new data, new knowledges, some of the facts, research gap, and in identifying various challenges and requisite responses to the climate change. And this is only be possible through the open international collaboration, which will ensure sufficient funding, technology transfer, capacity building for the research, particularly for the climate change. So, this mission of NAPCC was established on certain goals, that is mapping the knowledge and data resources related to the climate change. Mapping, we are talking about the mapping knowledge here, positioning a data sharing policy, identifying knowledge gaps, networking knowledge institutions, creating new dedicated centers within the existing institutional frameworks in order to map the knowledges and create the baseline data on climate change. Also to foster international cooperation on science and technology for climate change, and overall providing support for the development of policies for prolonged development. So, these are the few aims of this particular mission. Overall, we have seen 8 missions which are included in NAPCC. By reviewing these 8 missions, you can find out that NAPCC serves as an inclusive, integrated framework to address the challenges of the climate more inclusively with the concept of adaptation and mitigation in India. So, main thing here, it includes adaptation and mitigation strategies both. Particularly, the evolution of NAPCC is domestic and global climatic developments, we can say, that necessitated a very much holistic approach, very much holistic national program to respond to climate change. Its success will lie only in its consistency through the policy implementation, enhanced funding and active public participation to combat with the climate change effectively. Overall, we can say NAPCC is a very good step towards achieving a low carbon climate resilient economy while ensuring the overall inclusive development. So, the way forward for India would here through this NAPCC will actively participate in multilateral talks like UNFCC in a very positive manner, its conference of parties like Paris following the NDCs, that is the nationally determined contribution, the way forward. Here, India would actively participate in multilateral talks, particularly in UNFCC, its conference of parties like Paris Agreement, and India will come forward in a very positive and productive manner, forward looking way, acknowledging the climate change as a global issue. Several initiatives to mitigate climate change, to adapt with the climate change have begun internationally, and most importantly, this will be sustainable if they are constant, sustainable, and each and every person of every country contributes to it. So, here we can see by establishing NAPCC, the Indian government has already shown to world its commitments towards the climate change, and they have given a very much positive message to the public, industries and the civil society regarding the collective action. So, general awareness of global warming and climate change, agriculture and health hazard must be addressed quickly and effectively with such national and international initiatives. So, that's all for today's lecture, students. Have a nice day. Thank you.